When you think of the Detroit Red Wings, one name stands above the rest: Steve Yzerman. For 22 unforgettable seasons, Yzerman wore just one jersey, the iconic Red Wings uniform. But it was not just about wearing the jersey. It was about what he did in that jersey that changed hockey forever. If you love hockey history and legendary stories, smash that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Let's grow this hockey community together. Imagine a young Yzerman, doubted by critics and branded too soft to lead a team. Many questioned whether he had what it took to be a true captain in the NHL. But instead of breaking under pressure, he evolved into something extraordinary. The slick, offensive playmaker transformed into a warrior on ice, one of the most dominant two-way forces hockey has ever seen. Under his leadership, the Detroit Red Wings did not just win, they built a dynasty. 3 Stanley Cups, an Olympic gold medal, a leadership legacy that still inspires players today. But this was never just about trophies. It was about proving that true leadership means having the courage to reinvent yourself when the world says you cannot. Detroit, 1983. A once proud hockey city, now a shadow of its former self, desperate for something to believe in. Enter Steve Yzerman, the Red Wings' 4th overall draft pick, the franchise's chance at salvation. But this was no fairy tale with instant success. The Red Wings were in their darkest hours, a team where playoff dreams had long faded. Yzerman was not just stepping into an NHL jersey, he was stepping into a franchise fighting for its soul. From the moment he first skated at Joe Louis Arena, it was clear why scouts had been raving about him. His rookie season, a jaw-dropping 87 points. His sophomore season, a 39-goal explosion, breaking the franchise's rookie scoring record. Every time Yzerman touched the puck, magic happened. His hands were silky smooth, his vision was supernatural, and the entire NHL had no choice but to take notice. This kid was not just good, he was special. But here's where the story takes a turn. Despite Yzerman's offensive brilliance, the Red Wings were still getting beaten night after night. Imagine it, a generational talent surrounded by a team that simply could not keep up. Most players would have checked out. Some might have demanded a trade. Others might have lost their fire. But not Steve Yzerman. Even as the losses piled up, he kept pushing, kept fighting, kept believing. Then came the turning point: Scotty Bowman. The legendary coach arrived in Detroit with a defensive-first system, one that was completely different from what Yzerman had known. Bowman did not care about flashy plays or highlight reel goals. He wanted something more: complete hockey. At first, Yzerman struggled to adjust. Could he adapt? Would Detroit trade their young superstar? The whispers were not just rumors. They were a 5-alarm fire. Yzerman stood at a crossroads, a decision that would define his career and the future of the Red Wings. What happened next is why we are still talking about Steve Yzerman today. Instead of resisting the change, he embraced it. If you watch footage of Yzerman before and after Bowman, it is like watching 2 completely different players. The pure scorer transformed into a complete warrior. Back-checking became just as important as scoring. Physical play? He welcomed it. Defense? It became his pride and joy. This was not just a player adapting. This was the birth of a legend. His transformation from an offensive dynamo to a two-way force did more than change his game. It laid the foundation for one of hockey's greatest dynasties. For years, the Red Wings suffered playoff heartbreak. They were punching bags, flashes of brilliance followed by crushing disappointment. A weaker captain might have cracked under pressure, might have demanded a trade to a contender, but not Steve Yzerman. Every failure fueled his fire. The rivalry with Colorado? That was not just hockey. That was war on ice. When Claude Lemieux targeted Yzerman in the 1996 Western Conference Finals, leaving him with a busted knee and shattered dreams, it became personal. The following year, in 1997, Detroit did not just beat Colorado. They demolished them in a 4-game sweep that felt like revenge served ice cold. And finally, after 42 years of waiting, Detroit lifted the Stanley Cup. Yzerman had not just led them there, he had dragged them across the finish line. But he was not done yet. The late 1990s were not just the peak of Red Wings hockey, they were the moment Steve Yzerman became immortal. 3 Stanley Cups, an Olympic gold medal, a legacy that will live forever. When Yzerman finally retired, he left behind more than just numbers: 1,755 career points, 692 goals, 1,063 assists. But statistics do not tell the full story. They do not tell you about the broken bones, the sacrifices, and the countless nights he played through pain because his team needed him. He did not just play for Detroit. He became Detroit, tough, resilient, and unstoppable. Even today, every NHL captain who puts team above self is following Yzerman's blueprint. Think about it. A pure scoring talent who willingly sacrificed personal glory to become something greater. That is not just leadership. That is legendary. If this story fired you up, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's keep these legendary hockey stories alive. This is more than hockey history. This is the story of a leader, a warrior, and a champion. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice.